Welcome back, everyone, to Ready, Set, Sold. Thank you so much for staying with us. And as I said, as I promised earlier in the show, we were able to pull some strings, and we got the big guy. We got no one else better right now at this time of year, and that is Santa Claus. Santa Claus, are you there?
I'm here, Brian. How are you?
Santa,
this is exciting. Thanks for asking me to come on your show.
Well, I do appreciate it, Santa. I know this has got to be the busiest. I mean, the busiest day are coming up to it, with Christmas Eve being tomorrow. I mean, how do you do it? How do you keep the reindeer in shape? What do they do?
Oh, Brian, I'll tell you what. You know, they enjoy themselves after Christmas. We have a big after Christmas party. And after that party, they sleep for a good long time, for at least a week or two, because of everything and all the preparation that we take all up to Christmas, and making all of our toys. And they are just hard at work and love every minute of it. But I'll tell you what, we all like our downtime, as you know that, Brian. So after the holidays, we just relax. But we are in full swing right now, and all the elves and the reindeer are just having a grand old time. But I'll tell you something they like to do. We like to run some 5Ks together. We do the gingerbread 5K downtown Belleville. We've done some things over in St. Louis. You have to watch out for us next year, because we're incognito, because nobody can see who we are. But we stay in tip-top shape on the off season.
Awesome. I love that, and that's a good point. You're basically everywhere during the course of the year. I love that. Santa, one of the things that actually is just always, I've always wondered, because sometimes here in the St. Louis Metro East area, we don't always get snow. I mean, how do you pull it off? How do you get that? How do you get those sleds moving?
Well, Brian, you know how the sled moves. It's from Christmas spirit. We don't need snow in order to deliver our gifts. Christmas spirit and Christmas cheer is what keeps our sleds going. But in case there's a little downtime on that Christmas spirit, I do have a Hyper 3000 turbojet engine inside of that sleigh, just in case.
I love that, Santa. Boy, I tell you what, it sounds like that you have stayed up with the times.
We sure have. We're constantly working on the sled. That's another thing that my reindeers do. We're doing different maneuvers through the air up there at the North Pole, and working on different maneuvers, because when we're up there, we got to stay under the radar. So sometimes we're having to bob and weave around some of those planes and jets up in the air. So we're always trying to tweak our sled, and coming up with that turbo engine has really helped out a lot. And then who knows next year what we'll have underneath the hood of that sleigh.
Yeah, I love that, Santa. The one thing that has always amazed me, and I talked about earlier in the program, of how you have the ability to know when the children are asleep. Because if they're not asleep, you don't show. I mean, you just wait it out.
Oh, no.
And that's amazing.
Yes, it is. We get in and we get out, but we make sure, and through the year, too, we're always watching that naughty and nice list. Sometimes the reindeer and I take a little loop through the area just to see if any of those kids are being naughty and nice. So they may need to make sure that they're nice all year round, not just the week prior to Christmas, Brian. That was you as a young boy, young man, and I think they need to learn that just a week prior to Christmas, but you've learned through Santa's cheer that you have to be all year round a good boy, and you're a true example of that, Brian.
Well, I thank you, Santa. I thank you. There's been a few times maybe you might have missed a few things, but that's okay. That's okay.
That's right.
I love that. I love that. The other thing too is, and I just can't believe I had this opportunity. I thank you so much for spending some time. I know how busy you are, but I have to ask you: is there, once and for all, a favorite cookie, or should they be bringing out steak and lobster for you?
Brian, I am on a cookie diet all year round. Nothing but high carbs for this big guy. Could you imagine if I ate healthy during the rest of the year and then ate nothing but high carb on through Christmas? I would be half asleep. I like to eat cookies all year round, except when Mrs. Claus and I take a little hiatus down to Cancun. I like to eat a little steak and lobster while I'm down there. But otherwise, I'm back on my strict high-carb cookie diet. But I specifically like the sugar cookies with the icing and the sprinkles, Brian, if you're asking.
Oh, I love that. I love that. Finally got the answer, so hopefully everybody wrote that down. I do appreciate that. I love the fact that you take some downtime, too, because that's really important. And that, as you mentioned before, that people really don't, you know, you're kind of a different, you don't have the red, you don't have all that stuff, so you're around the area the whole time. I love that. It's nice that you take some time off, too, for all the great things that you do for the boys and girls and even for the big kids. We really appreciate your work, Santa.
Well, I appreciate it, Brian. I'll tell you what, I consider everybody family, and everybody should take time with their family. I do, and I like to spend time around with everybody around the world on my off time. Whether you know it or not, when you're talking to somebody, it may be me. You may not know it, but you'll feel it. It's Santa Claus.
I love that, Santa, and I tell you what, that's a good thing to remember for whatever age we are, that treating people nice and doing the right thing is always a great thing, whether it's at Christmas time or whether it's in the middle of July. I love that sentiment. Thank you so much for that.
Indeed, Brian.
All right, Santa, I know you are swamped. I know you've got so many things going on. One just quick question, though. What's the weather like up at the North Pole? Is it as cold as they say?
Well, you know what, Brian? You never know. It's just like the Midwest. If it's cold today, just stick around to tomorrow. It might be 50 degrees. And they say that it's going to be pretty cool around the area, which is going to be great, and possibly snow. Snow always helps out when it makes me feel like Christmas time, just like everybody else. Up here at the North Pole, it's about a clean 12 below right now, which is a little chilly for me and Miss Claus. But I do have a hot tub up here. We have some great amenities, so we're enjoying ourselves during this cold time, getting in preparation for the big night, Brian.
Okay,
all right,
Santa,
Mrs.
we're running
Claus,
out of time.
I'm on my way. Brian,
Okay,
Mrs. Claus
Santa,
is calling me, and I've got to get back because she's baking some cookies, and she's got to feed the reindeer. So thank you very much for allowing me to talk to everybody, Brian, and I'll look forward to coming down your chimney this year, Brian.
I'll bet you will. Thank you so much, Santa. Bye-bye.
Run, run, Rudolph, I'm really